Hi guys, my name is Tamara Bostrick. I'm a junior in FDDS, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this book that I recently read called 5 Minds for the Future by Howard Gardner. I'm going to talk about what I learned from the book, what I learned about myself from the book, and how I'm applying those two things, or those things that I'm learning, to my everyday life. Also, I'm going to talk about whether or not I would recommend this book to someone else. So, yeah. So just to start off, the 5 minds that Howard Gardner describes are the disciplined mind, the synthesizing mind, the creative mind, the respectful mind, and the ethical mind. So when I first started this book, I was a bit naive and I thought, oh, I contain some of these characteristics in all of these minds, I'm good. But after reading further, I realized that I didn't have that balance that I needed. And Gardner acknowledges that, it's okay for some people to have a really developed, let's say, synthesizing mind, but if someone with that synthesizing mind doesn't have, let's say, a respectful or an ethical mind, that's not a good thing. So it's okay if you're developed in certain minds, but it's wrong if you're just underdeveloped in other minds. So I took that to heart, and I realized that there were parts where I was more developed than others, and that there, in fact, wasn't a balance that there should be. So I'm going to divide into 3 parts because I feel like there's an overlap between the disciplined and the synthesizing mind for me personally. So I'm going to talk about those 2 minds, the creative mind and then the ethical mind. So for the discipline and synthesizing mind, he used some examples about, some people would consider it just like a class or something, and how you shouldn't confuse the discipline or the synthesizing mind as just knowing content or memorizing something, how you have to take it a step further, and sometimes that takes more hours than it takes just to memorize something, but that further understanding is what's going to make you a more effective leader in that area. So that's something that I definitely want to work on, is just not relying on memorizing, because I know personally that sometimes does not work, and I've failed sometimes because of just simply relying on memorizing. So understanding more about what it means to be disciplined in an unmemorizing definition and increasing my synthesizing mind is something that I want to work on. As for the creative mind, so I walked in thinking, I'm not as creative as some other people, obviously. Well, not obviously, but if you were to compare me to maybe like an arts major, which is what I would sometimes compare myself to, as someone who's automatically going to be highly more creative than me. And I realized that creativity can be in different forms, and something that I worked on to become more creative, where over the holiday season we had a few videos to encourage donations to our program, and I was in charge of editing those videos. And I realized that when it comes to creativity, how it's not necessarily that you just have to work on it, it's just that you just have to, well, in my situation, is just go for it and hope for the best, if that makes sense. There's no exact formula to creativity, is basically what I'm trying to say, and how it's subjective, and sometimes you have to work on creativity just by asking for feedback, which is what I end up doing for all the videos, was asking for feedback in any way that any other person involved found. And it was really helpful just to hear their opinions and start thinking about things in different ways, in other creative ways. And lastly, for the ethical mind, surprisingly, this is a mind that I want to pull back a little bit on. So being ethical, briefly, in a nutshell, as being unselfish. There are many ways to describe it, but what I kind of took away from it was unselfishness. And some of my failures have also been based on being too unselfish. That is the thing. And Learning to understand that sometimes I just need to focus on me and that I can't let other things that I really want to support sometimes take away from what I want to do. So those are the things that I learned about myself from the book and how I'm starting to apply it to my life. So just to summarize, if I want to recommend this book to others, I guess I would recommend the book if someone just wants a gist of the way Gardner describes these minds and just a little glimpse upon how they can change it. If you're looking for more concrete ways, then I would not recommend this book because it is a bit more vague. I don't know, at times, this might just be me, but at times I felt like he was just reiterating himself over and over, and I hate when people do that. I hate fluff in books too, so I would just skim those really quickly. But yeah, in all, it was a book that I don't regret reading, so if that's another way to recommend it, then I would recommend it. So that's pretty much what I got from the book, and thank you for watching. Bye!